Hi guys, let's get started with 10.4. In 10.4, we go from finding surface area and lateral surface area to finding volume. Now, where surface area is how much space an object takes up, or like the covering of an object, volume is how much you can fit inside an object, okay? So our learning target today is going to be to find the volume of a prism. Our success criteria is going to be measured by our ability to find the formula for a prism, find and use the formula for the volume of a prism, and use the formula for the volume of a prism to find a missing dimension. I'm having issues speaking, okay? All right, so when we're talking about, if we look at this this exploration, which I know we never really do these, I just didn't find them to be that useful. When we look at these, it says in the figure shown, each cube has a volume of 1 cubic unit. Compare the volume of the rectangular prism to the area of its base. And so if we look at the area of the base, like we're going to have 3 times 2, which is 6, right? And the volume is going to be that 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the volume is going to be 30. So when we compare them, we can see that we use the area of the base to find the volume. Okay? So let's go ahead and jump right in. It says the volume of a three-dimensional figure is a measure of the amount of space that it occupies. Volume is measured in cubic units. So remember when we were talking about surface area and we talked about identifying the base of a figure and how we identify the base? The base is the parts, the two pieces that don't connect to each other, the two pieces that aren't touching each other, okay? And depending on which way the figure is positioned determines your base, okay? So key idea, volume of a prism. The volume V of a prism is the product of the area of the base, which we're going to call the big B. Okay, area of the base is the big B. Area of the base times the height. Okay, this is our formula for volume. And it says, remember when we're looking over here, it says the slanted figure is called an oblique prism. Volumes of oblique prisms are calculated in the same way as volumes of right prisms. And this is a right prism right here. This one is a right prism just because it's made up of right angles. Okay? So again, here's our formula. V equals area of the base times the height. So the first thing we're going to figure out is what's our base, and then we're going to have to calculate the area of it, and then we're going to multiply it times the height. So in example 1, it says finding the volume of a rectangular prism. It says find the volume of the prism. Okay, it says the area of the base of a rectangular prism is the product of the length and the width, W. You can use V equals LWH to find the volume of a rectangular prism. So what they're saying here, and it's kind of confusing, what they're saying is that we can substitute length times width for the area of the base, since area of the base is equal to length times width. If you look right here, length times width is going to give me the area of the base of this rectangular prism. And so I can kind of just substitute that in. So basically, oops, I don't know what I'm doing there. The volume of this rectangular prism is 6 times 8 times 15. And that's using substitution. 6 times 8 is 48 times 15. 48 times 15 gives me 720 yards cubed. Okay? Volume is always cubed. It's always to the third power. And you could also say cubic yards. You could say it like that instead of yards cubed. You could say cubic yards. Okay? So you guys go ahead and pause and try to do the try-its. And meanwhile, I'm going to erase. And then we'll jump right into try-it 1. We have a rectangular prism. And I say rectangle because even though it looks like a square, remember all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. Okay? So, find the volume of the prism. Volume equals area of the base times height. Volume equals 4 times 4 for the area of my base times 4 for my height. So 16 times 4 is going to be 64 feet cubed. Okay? Basically, I just know that 4 to the third power is 64. So that was try it 1. Now let's look at try it 2. Try it 2, we have a oblique prism, but it's calculated the exact same way. So volume equals area of the base times height. In this one, we have a volume equals 5 times 8.5 is going to give me the area of my base. Even so, if you look, let me see if I can zoom in really fast and show you. If you look right here, it shows you this 5. That's kind of like the height of that like rectangle. Okay, so it's a prism, it's a polygon, and they're telling you that's 5 and that's 8.5. Okay, I know it's a little slanted, but that's all that's saying with that right triangle right there. Okay, so 5 times 8.5 times 6, which is the actual height of the oblique pyramid or prism. Sorry, 5 times 8.5 is going to be 42.5 times 6 is going to be 255. Whoops. 255 centimeters cubed. Okay? I would really like to be able to say, are there any questions right now? I'm just going to say it. Do you have any questions? Anybody got questions? Okay, let me know if you have questions. If you have questions, send me an email and say, Miss Crewy, I don't understand how to calculate the volume of a prism. Where does the height come from? Miss Crewy, I don't understand how to calculate the volume of a prism. What does area of the base mean? Okay? So when you send me an email, tell me what you don't understand, so I can help you work through it a little bit. Okay? Moving on. Example 2, finding the volume of a triangular prism. So when we're finding the volume of a triangular prism, we're using the exact same formula, area of the base times height. What we have to remember here, though, is that when we're finding the area of the base of a triangular prism, our base is a triangle. Our base is a triangle. And so to find that, we're going to use 1/2 the base length. Notice that's a little b times the height. Notice the difference between the little b and the big B. The big B means area of the base, and the little b means the base length. Okay, the base measurement, maybe not length, but measurement. So let's go ahead and try to calculate this one. So here we've got 1/2 times the base measurement, which is 5.5, times the height of the triangle, which is 2, times the height of the triangular prism. Now I know this looks like the length of it, but imagine if we stood this figure up on its base, then that would actually be how tall it was. So that height is 4. Okay? I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to say 1/2 of 2 is 1 times 5.5 is just going to be 5.5. Okay, remember, of means multiplication, so 1/2 of 2. So instead of 1/2 times 2, I'm thinking 1/2 of 2. And that's always how I deal with halves. I say 1/2 of some number. So we're going to have 1/2 of 2 is 1. 1 times 5.5 is 5.5 times 4. Times 4. Oh my goodness. Times 4. Okay, so 5 times 4 is 20. 1/2 of 5 is 2. 1/2 of 4 is 2. So that's going to be 22. So for this first one, we're going to end up, for this one right here, with a volume of 22 inches cubed or cubic inches. Okay? All right, go ahead and pause and try to do the try-its on your own. I'll go ahead and erase. I got some figures here I gotta delete. I've been trying not to draw these figures too much today. All right. Try it 3, sorry. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna write our formula, and then we're gonna write that b is equal to 1/2 little b times height. Okay, so for this one, we have our base is the triangle right here. That's our base. So we're gonna say volume equals 1/2 the length of the base, which is 12, times the height of the base, which is 5, times the height of the figure itself, which is 9. Okay? Remember, imagine this figure sitting up on its base. Imagine if it's up on that base, it's going to be 9 meters tall. Okay? Half of 12 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30 times 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Carry the 0. We end up with 270 meters cubed. Okay? So that's how we do try-it number 3. Okay? This is just multiplication. It's a little bit of confusing with the formula. You just have to remember that formula. But after that, guys, it's just basic multiplication. I was talking to a student today, and he goes, well, I don't understand how to use a formula. And I was like, well, tell me how you make a bowl of cereal in the morning. And he walked me through the entire thing of making a bowl of cereal. And I was like, okay, making a bowl of cereal is nothing but a formula. You need to get the cereal, you need a bowl, you need milk, you need a spoon. You add them, you multiply it all together, pour it in a certain way, and you end up with the bowl of cereal. That's a formula. A formula is a step-by-step process that we follow in order to find some measurement. Okay? That's all it is. So for number 4, then, we've got our formula. We've got all the pieces. So volume equals 1/2. This one right here, this is our triangle. We've got a base there of 2 and a height of 3/4, times the height of the whole figure of 3. Okay, half of 2 is 1. 1 times 3/4 is 3/4. So then I've got 3/4 times 3. That gives me 9/4, which is 2 1/4. Okay? You could also write this 2.25, and that's going to be meters cubed. And all I did, guys, was follow basic math. I just half of 2 is 1. 1 times 3/4 is 3/4. 3/4 times 3/1. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 1 is 4. And then you need to take 9 divided by 4. 9 goes into 4 twice. That's 8. You end up with 1/4, which is the same as 0.25. Okay? All right, let's move on to example 3, modeling real life. This says each popcorn bag shown holds exactly 96 cubic inches of popcorn. Cubic inches, big hint right there. Cubic inches means volume. It says, which bag should a movie theater choose in order to use less paper when making popcorn bags? The volume of them is the same. Okay? They each hold 96 cubic inches, but they have a different height. Each one of them has a different height, and we have to figure what that is. So we have bag A. Okay? We know our formula. Now we're going to fill in the missing pieces. We know that volume is equal to 96 because it tells me that right there. On this one, it's a rectangle, right? So we know that the area of the base is going to be 3 times 4. What we don't know here is the height. That's our missing piece. So 96 equals 12h. Divide both sides by 12, okay? And we get that h equals 8, okay? So that means the height of bag A is 8. Let's look at bag B. We've got the same exact formula. Volume equals the area of the base times height. Volume is the same on this one. We've got 4 times 4 times the height. This one has a little bit of a bigger base. So 96 equals 16H. Divide both sides by 16. And we get that H is equal to 6. Okay? Now it says to determine the amount of paper needed, find the surface area of each bag. Do not include the top. Okay? So now we have to find the surface area. We're going to take this a step further. So I'm going to kind of move down here. All right, keep working on bag A. We've got to find the surface area. So surface area is equal to the length times the width for the base plus 2 times the length times the height for 2 times the length times the height for like this piece right here. Length times height. And then 2 times the width times the height, which is going to be this piece right here. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Plus 2 times the width times the height. Okay? So length times height is going to be 4 times 3. And remember, we're only doing one of these because we're not including that top piece. Okay? Because it's a popcorn bag and it doesn't have a top piece. Okay, so 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 8 is 64. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 8 is 48. 8 and 12 is going to give me 60. 6 and 6 is 12, so 124 inches squared is the surface area of that one, bag A. Now let's do the same thing, same exact formula. Surface area equals length times width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height, okay? Surface area equals, we're going to do 4 times 4 for the base plus 2 times 4 times 6 plus 2 times 3. Nope, 4 again. Why did I say 3? I don't know. I'm thinking about the last one. 2 times 4 times 6, okay? 4 times 4 is 16. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 6 is 48. We already figured that one out, so 48. And then when we add all of them up, we get 112 inches squared for the surface area. So which bag takes less paper? Which bag has less surface area, which means it takes less paper to make, therefore it's cheaper? So the surface area of bag B is less than bag A. Bag B is less than bag A. So if you were paying for this paper to make this bag, bag B would be the better choice, right? It takes less paper to make, therefore it's cheaper. And you get the exact same volume. You get the amount, you're serving your customers the exact same amount of popcorn. You're not shorting anybody, but you don't have to pay for the paper. So there we go. I hope that helped. I hope you guys actually watched this video. I've been noticing lately that my views are way down and people aren't watching videos. So best be believing that if you ask me for help, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, did you watch the video? So I guess if you don't watch the video, you won't know that. But if you do watch the video, you'll be able to say, yes, Miss Cruey, I watched the video. And if you watch the video and I ask you, the key word is going to be pumpkin spice. Why? I don't know. I'm just sitting here looking around my house and I saw an orange cup and it reminded me of pumpkin spice. So if I ask you for the key word to let me know that you watched the video for sure, the key word is pumpkin spice. There we go. All right, you guys have a great day and I'll see you soon.